Let's go shopping for a Gibson Les Paul Standard. If you've been in the market for a Gibson Les Paul, maybe you've owned a bunch, maybe you've never owned one in your life, this is the video for you if you're just wanting to know what's out there in terms of the Standard. And the Standard is the Standard. It's like you've got traditionals and studios, which are lesser, and then you got custom and these other ones which are higher end. But the Standard, here I am on Sweetwater's site, just user after guitarist after guitarist is giving it 5-star reviews, thinking they're incredible, but there's tons of options. I mean, look at all this stuff right here. You've got a million things to choose from. You're like, how can I do it? And some of them are premium versions that are $10,000, but most of them are right in that $2,500 to $3,300 price range. Over here on Gibson's site, which I'll come back to in a second, you've got a bunch of exclusive editions, which in colors and finishes and things that only they offer. And then, over here on Guitar Center, you've got ones like this one right here in the middle, which is exclusive just to them and Musician's Friend. So I'm going to go through all the options the best I can, and it'll help you make up your decision. So let me come here to I'm on Sweetwater's site. I love using their site because it's got great filtering and all that kind of stuff. And what I've learned is I'm going to do, let me do this. I'll do 2,000 to 3,500. And the reason why I'm going to limit our search to that is, again, this one right here is a Les Paul Standard, but it's a custom Les Paul Standard, which means it's really, you're getting into some special guitar kind of range that it's sort of like a custom guitar. There's another one. It's a custom 1959 Les Paul Standard. So I would treat these in a different class than the regular ones. And then you can see here, I don't know why that's saying Les Paul, because that sure looks like an SG to me. And anyway, there's some outliers here, and I'm going to weed out the outliers because I don't really view them as the classic Les Paul Standard. So let me do that. I'm going to hit our search, and let's go. I'll do this. I'll do low to high. And these are Gibsons. Okay, the first thing up is, I'm going to open these in new tabs. I'm going to go here. So the lowest price one is $22.99, and this is a faded vintage Honeyburst. Beautiful guitar. I mean, that looks like a classic one. And one thing you should know is that from everything I've seen here, unless there's something else, they come in 50s and 60s. And so meaning everything is a 1950s or 1960s model. And the differences between them are pretty minimal in my opinion. See those gold knobs right there? Let me move them away from my head. Oops. The gold knobs they're just gold everywhere. And if you look at the top middle part, remember that the 60s ones have a silver thing right there, just a different knob. I don't know. Let me see if I can figure out whether the pickups are different. But one of the other biggest parts of it is two things. The tuners are different. They have the old, what do they call them? Kidney stone things. I think those are cool. Sometimes in different pictures they look sort of green, but for the most part they're sort of like that, a nice cream color. And I forget whether those are the Grovers or the other ones. Let me see what those are called. Tuners. I forgot. I should know this. Well, hang in there. It's escaped my mind right now. Okay. The other difference on the 50s necks are a little bit thicker. From what I've held in my hand, they're not chunky. They're chunkier than the 60s, which are slim taper necks. So if you want a thin neck, get a 60s. But they have a thicker version, but they're not like a big baseball bat like a Telecaster. Okay, so that's the 50s and 60s. I want to start right there. But you can see here the faded, though. What does faded mean? Well, faded is basically Gibson's word for satin. And you can't really tell in these pictures, but there's no gloss happening right there. I guess if you look right there, actually you can see that strap lock right under there. It's got this satin finish. It's not a gloss finish. So that's why this one is so cheap, and everything is satin. And when I say it's satin, I mean if you go in a store and you look at a gloss one at an angle, it shines. Everything shines. The headstock shines and all that. On these faded ones, it's flat. It's very flat. They're beautiful and cool, and they feel great. But that's what the faded means right there. And that's why you get this thing for $22.99, not for $2,700. And so I'm not going to go into all the specs of this one right here. Let me keep going here. I'll quickly look. Burst bucker pickups, vintage 50 neck. I'm going to talk about the plecked frets in a second. Right there. Gosh, what are the names of these tuners? I forgot. I'll probably see it on something else. Okay, let me just close that and we'll go back to this list. Okay, so then you have another faded for the same price. This is just a different color right there, bourbon burst. There's another faded tobacco burst. So you got all these bursts, and then you have the vintage cherry sunburst. These are all faded, and right now Sweetwater has this deal going on with, you get two Maestro pedals. They're Gibson's old Maestro brand that they've renewed, and you get two pedals for about $300 value, and there's some cool ones there. Honey burst faded, vintage cherry burst faded, and now you leave that range. See what I mean? So there's basically 6 choices in colors for that faded right there, and some of these have open pick guards right here. Not open pick. The pickup covers are not on these 2 right there, and they are on those 4 up there. So keep that in mind. And now you go up to 2600, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about the specs on these guitars here. But for 2600, you've got a gold top, which is this beautiful plain, metallic gold top, black, and you can see the word plain top is now in here. Plain top black, plain top sparkling burgundy, Inverness green. There's TV yellow. So anyway, you're getting a mix here of different kinds here. The plain top is a collection, and if you keep coming down here, there's a plain top in white, a plain top in blue. They have 50s and 60s. See what I mean right there? So the 50s is over there on the left, and the 60s is on the right. I'll hop into a 60s one in a second. You got Inverness green. So basically, you've got, to start over, you got the faded series for $22.99. Then you get into some plain tops and gold top kind of range right here, mixed in with a couple of these TV yellows, which have black binding right there. And then you have a P90 version of this one right here. This is the Gibson Standard solid body. So you have a P90, different pickups than the classic, burst bucker kind of pickups. And then you hop over to the $27.99 range. So I'm going to come back to the $27.99. Let's hop into a 60s plain top for $25.99. Yep, that's what I want to do. Sorry, I was trying to figure out what to click on. Okay, so here is a plain top, and even though that's a stock picture, this is not a stock picture. And there you go. Those are the pickup covers I was talking about a second ago. If you look at those right there, they have this silver knob or silver, top to them that say like tone and volume and all that stuff. A lot of people really love those. Now, plain top means there's no wood grain coming through. It's literally, they just painted it a color. I wanted one of these white ones, but when I saw it in person, this was a little green, even greener than this. It was just sort of this weird green. I wanted it to be cream or white, but it's a little bit green. They all have mahogany backs and necks. And if you look closely, you'll see how that gloss right there, the gloss little shine right there on the left side of that side right there. And then the tuners right here, you can see there's the tuners, the metallic, the silver tuners, and I just totally forgotten what they're called here. So let me spend a second on this, the plain top one right here. All right, so let's see, 12-inch neck radius, Indian rosewood fingerboard. That's pretty much standard on all these. They have a set mahogany neck. The 60s necks are slim taper. It has a Graphtec nut, an ABR1 tune-o-matic bridge, an alumina stop bar, Grover Rotomatic tuners. So the silver ones, are Grover. Just a thinner neck, vintage PAF tone, which is patent applied for. So they're burst-bucker pickups, period correct, unmatched windings on the bobbins, all that kind of stuff. Orange drop capacitors. And these, again, these things are just great. They're great. They're amazing. So plecked frets. So the pleck is this, crazy machine which just makes sure that the frets are dressed and polished and leveled to just this ridiculous accuracy. And if you go read the comments on Sweetwater and all these, I mean, people are like, this thing played the best guitar I've ever played right out of the box. Another thing I love, this is my favorite. All these guitars are nitrocellulose lacquer. They're nitrocellulose lacquer. They're going to look good. They're going to sound good. They're going to age well. If you get little nicks and scratches and checking and all that kind of stuff. And also, if you've never opened a Gibson box, a Gibson case before with a nitro guitar, you open it up and it just smells, I think, awesome. Most everybody thinks it smells awesome. It's just this unique smell that smells beautiful and awesome, and it makes you think of that instrument. And then later on, if you ever smell a smell like that somewhere, you're like, oh, my guitar that I used to own or whatever. It's very cool. Again, 12-inch radius. So let me just go down here, see if there's anything else that catches my eye here on that burst. They all come with a hard shell case, and just go down and read the reviews. Well, let's see. This one has a 2.5. Well, here's the thing. This one has 2 reviews, and therefore somebody didn't like the plain top, and big deal, and so meaning this one has a bad rating. Let me close this and I'll show you another one. Let's go to, I'm going to open up let me open one of these 50s ones. I'll open the 50s P90 gold, and unlike the other one, the only reason that had 2.5 star ratings again is there were 2 ratings. If you get to anything that has 38 reviews, it's basically 5 stars across the board. So here's the 50s P90 gold top. I mean, this is just like you're playing a guitar in the 1950s. There are those different knobs over there, and there's the different tuners right there. And again, it's a Les Paul Standard, and you've got all these choices. So here is a P90 version, but if I click on Heritage Cherry, it's going to switch over to the Burst Bucker right there, which are these, more classic style humbucker pickups, beautiful knobs, and appointments and all that. And so if I go down one of these, it's just amazing. It's like everybody that just gets it says, this is the guitar I dreamed of. I thought about getting a Gibson my whole life, and I finally did it, and same thing. A little bit thicker neck, but not like an old Telly early 50s U-shape neck. Plecked frets, nitrocellulose lacquer, thin polyurethane, not poly, nitro finish, thinner than modern polyurethane. And there we go. Let me read some of these. Mahogany body, mahogany neck, 12-inch fingerboard radius, rosewood fingerboard. Another big thing about all these, if you ever wondered, they all have a 24.75 inch scale length, which is smaller than a Fender Stratocaster or Telecaster if you've been playing those before. So it's going to feel a little bit, easier to do string bends and just, slinkier strings or whatever they say. Basically super easy playable. And the Burst Bucker pickups or the Gibsons. We talked about all this stuff before. I'm just seeing if there's anything new or different. And if you go down the ratings on this one, it's off the charts, like positive. Just pictures and like, couldn't be happier, amazing guitar, even better than expected. My first Gibson. Check this out. I was told my whole life that Fender Stratocaster was the only electric worth playing. About 3 years ago, I decided I finally wanted to buy a Les Paul, primarily because I reached a point where I had some disposable income. I researched, blah, blah, blah. I will expand this real quickly. I will say it's opened a whole new world, and I play more than I have in years. So that's a big deal. That's a big deal. Now, one of the cool things about Sweetwater is you can pick your weight, and this particular one, you can look at the serial number. This one weighs 8 pounds, 10 ounces. That's a light Gibson Les Paul. If you are a Strat, aficionado, let me see if I can find another one with a lot of ratings right here. Let me just go into this Tobacco Burst. I'll click that dude, and here we go. You have 9.10 ounces, 9.13 ounces, and 9.8. So these are all almost a pound heavier than the other one, and a lot of them go to 10. And if you're not familiar with it, Gibson has weight relief guitars, and they have cut out some of the wood inside that you can't see, but it takes a pound or two off. So most people say if you want a real Gibson Les Paul, you want a heavy one. You want something in the upper 9s to 10s range because the sustain is there. It just sounds great unplugged and all that. But a lot of people who are coming over maybe from Fender guitars or other ones are like, man, I just don't want a heavy one. Well, if you wait and look on Sweetwater and other places like that, you can find them in the upper 8 range. Some of them are about 8.5. I don't think I've ever seen a Les Paul in the lower 8s, but let me know if there is. That's a big deal. Just be ready for that and decide whether you want a heavy Les Paul or a lighter Les Paul. But even the lightest Les Paul is probably going to be a little bit heavier than your Strat. Okay, so we stopped at 2,600. Let's go to the 2,799. So now you're at 2,800 US. And what's the difference? These are not plain tops anymore. So if I were to open up this bourbon burst right here, you remember we went from faded to basically a plain top, and now you're looking at a transparent finish right here. So you can see the wood grain coming through, and there's all these different levels of wood grain right here. So it's a very similar guitar. This one's 9 pounds 15 ounces. There's a 9.3 right there. In fact, if I click on that 9.3, check this out. It loads this one, and this one has a darker feel, but also it has that nice flame maple top going on right there. Which is really cool. I don't think I talked about how these are flame maple tops. And this model, you've got a ton of these available. Let me see if I can go through this. Dirty Lemon Burst, which is a Sweetwater special edition, which is higher cost. But then, let me click on these. I guess I'm going to have to click on them. Yeah, okay, sorry. Let me come back to that. I'll come back to that because it jumped in price. But back to the $27.99 price. Okay, sorry. They're jumping all over the board. Maybe I should have stuck. Here is iced tea. Basically, every different color and finish sometimes has different appointments right here. So if I click on, let me just click on this one here. Here is, yeah, okay. Sorry, I got us off on the wrong thing. What I'm going to say is that when you get in the $27.99 range, you're looking at a different version of the gold top that doesn't have P90s. You're looking at transparent finishes. So there's tobacco burst, there's heritage cherry burst, and then you move over into what they call figured top. And figured top is also a transparent finish, but it has figured wood, which you don't know what figured wood is. It's got this pattern to it, but a lot of times the pattern is irregular. I personally think it's splotchy looking. If you look at the ratings on this, that's got a lot of good reviews. If I go to check out another one, if I go to Ocean Blue, some people look at this one right here, which is translucent fuchsia, and they go, that is not what a Les Paul should look like. That is way crazy. Let me go back to cherry. This one looks the most like a traditional Les Paul. But even these, that's a pretty even one, but most of them just feel very splotchy. I don't like the figured wood. So you got figured honey amber, blueberry burst, but then you're back to non-figured. See the word figured right there? Figured basically means this sort of mix of like splotchy patterns in the wood with also more linear, flame maple kind of feel. But over here, now, if you notice, this one is not a figured. So let me open up this one. And this is a mega popular one, the Unburst. And if you look at the ratings on this one, 64 5-star reviews. People love the Unburst. It's basically a softer, lighter version of a good orange, sunburst kind of feel, but it's just not that dark. It has a cherry back and side, so this is a big deal. Keep an eye on this. Some of these guitars have a cherry stained mahogany back and neck. And see that right there? It's got the gloss finish. It's got the cherry. Whereas a lot of the other ones we looked at had a brown stained mahogany. So they're both mahogany, but now this one is cherry finished, and some people like it and some people don't. And again, you're looking at the 60s version, which has the silver knobs right there. And once again, it has the silver tuners right there. So for $27.99. But so many of the specs are very similar. In other words, what you're really doing, you're sort of getting the same guitar for this kind of price for $27.99 that you would have gotten at $25.99, except you have a different top. The top on the front of the guitar is either flame maple or figured or transparent or plain top, just a plain color. So in other words, you're really paying for the top and what it looks like, and then you got all those choices. Now, I mentioned a minute ago, you saw me accidentally click on some guitars. They got into the $3,000 or $3,200 range. It's because of this. So here you go. This is a Gibson Les Paul 50s AAA top, exclusive. So this is exclusive to Gibson. So that's why you're paying another $200. So instead of paying $25.99 for a plain top, now you're going up $400, and you're getting it because Sweetwater has a AAA flame top. Now, this one does not look that amazing to me, but the top is technically a higher grade of this flame maple. Didn't mean to do that. Let me see if I can find, I'll do this. This is a good example. Sweetwater, for that same price, offers Lemon Burst. And if I click on that right there for $29.99, that to me is a great example of what you're paying for. You're paying $400 over a plain top to get this crazy, beautiful, amazing flame maple. Look at that design right there in the maple wood. And you're paying $200 more than just a regular transparent top. You know what I mean? So you can get a unburst, which is beautiful, and it may or may not have some of this level in it, or you can pay $29.99 to get a AAA grade, where is it up here? AAA maple top right there. And if you come down here and look at all the reviews and all the people, I mean, they're just like, that thing is gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Same specs as, see, slim taper neck, pleck frets, nitro finish. So many things are really exactly the same scale length, same fingerboard radius, and all that. So you just keep going up $200 for every one of those steps. And then we're getting close to topping off the standard version here. There's another AAA for that same price. And if I go here, this is the Heritage Cherry, 10.2 ounces, 9.1 ounces. So a full pound difference. And look at that gorgeous flame maple. Is that incredible or what? I mean, if you want a classic Gibson Les Paul, but that looks really premium and custom shop, you basically pay about $3,000 instead of going custom shop or really way, way, way high. And you're getting a AAA grade, like full on amazing, amazing guitar. Now I'm going to show you, let me go to the next page, because what you also have are a few artist versions. So I'm not going to click into these right yet, but you have a Slash version and then a Kirk Hammett version right there, the greenie. And they have their own, like that has a mix of knobs. It's just their own artist version. And you're in that $3,000 range. Slash didn't like pick up covers right there. And you've got some interesting ones. Adam Jones. You have a Mary Ford. She played with Les Paul on Les Pauls, and that's her own version that looks like it's right out of the 1950s, which is really cool. There's another Sweetwater exclusive AAA top in Viper Blue. Not my cup of tea, but it's pretty cool. And then another one, Lemon Burst. So we're still in that $3,000 price range. And then you're surfing along, and suddenly there's a different Slash guitar for $3,200. And then you get to another set of exclusives for Sweetwater that are $32.99. Now I'm focusing on Sweetwater. I could also show you again over here the Gibson. This is a AAA grade on Guitar Center and Musician's Friend site, and it's $3,000. So for $300 less than Sweetwater's exclusive AAA grade, you get this ridiculously beautiful guitar. And it's a 60s, or right there. It's got the brown stained mahogany back and neck, and gorgeous guitar. So for $3,000, you get AAA grade, amazing. Then you're getting to what color. If you're like, that's a pretty darker, richer, redder orange color. Whereas if you come back over to Sweetwater, that's a different style right there. Also, you know what? That's also at AAA, so it's not any more expensive right here. So now you're just picking, just go to all these different sites and figure out which one has this exclusive or that exclusive and pick your favorite. But what Sweetwater has is, I'm going to go to one of these real quickly. They've got, okay, Grover and Clusion. I forgot. Okay, so Clusion, finally, however long into this video. Where is it? Yeah, Clusion tuners are these right there, and Grover are the silver ones. So check out this guitar right here. This is $3,300, Dirty Lemon Burst, and there is a video made by, I think, Peach Guitars in the UK. It shows this thing, and it just is amazing looking. It is like a dirtier version of the one we just saw, like a browner version. It's like that Lemon Burst, that brighter yellow, but it's just, more brown and less harsh and less lemony, and it has the brown stain sides and back. Gorgeous guitar. And again, I think what you're paying here is you're just paying for this combination of different tuners and a different top, but the pickups are nearly or exactly the same. So it's just, you're paying for that stunning instrument right there instead of something different like that. And so if I zoom back out, yeah, now you're done at that $3,500 price range. There's the ones I was just showing you right there. And you got some left-handed ones in there, of course, as well. So that's the standard line. I could go over to Gibson's site again. Oops, sorry, that menu pops up. And the prices on these, here's one. Yeah, see, these are their exclusive Les Pauls, but a lot of them are not standards at all. Yeah, maybe I should. Anyway, I'll stop right here on this part of the page, because these are exclusive to Gibson themselves. So meaning if you're looking for this exact finish, this plain top iced tea, you can only get it at Gibson for that same $2,600 price. But if you want a regular iced tea that's not plain top, you can get it at Sweetwater. See what I mean? So you got all these options, but if you get any lower than that, if I go back to page one, let me go back to page one. If I go any lower than this $22.99 range, you're either getting something that's on clearance and they're trying to get rid of it, and it's a good standard, but it just happens to be lower price, or you're going down into the studio range or others. Like, for example, I'll just quickly go. I'll change that to 1,000 and hit enter, and I'll sort by low to high. Well, I'm not even getting anything lower. Why am I not getting anything lower? Let me just start a new search for Gibson Les Paul. Oh, I guess because I'm adding the word standard. So let me get rid of the word standard. It's searching, and there we go. And so if I go low to high right here, you're going to get, I'm just going to show you what you get for less. You can get a Gibson Les Paul finished in nitrocellulose lacquer for $1,400. But it doesn't have binding. It has different pickups. You got some interesting colors. I don't think you're ever going to get a transparent finish unless you're viewing the mahogany, I believe. I guess you do have some transparent finishes. I mean, that looks really close, but then if you look a little bit closer, it doesn't have binding. It lacks some of the stunning nature of it. You get into these kind of guitars, and what else? Just more and more of these, and now you're getting in the $2,000 range. But even for $2,000, it's still a studio, which if you just go study the specs on studios, everything is just a little less premium. And then boom, once you pass the 2,000 range, you're into what we talked about here, these faded Gibson Les Pauls. And if you go over that price, let me go even higher than the standard range just to show you what even more money will get you. If I go to high, you get into these Les Paul Supreme for $4,500. There's a Wine Red for $4,000. You have this Fireburst for $4,000. You don't have to go too far until you're back in that $3,200 range. Now there are custom models and other ones that get into the $5, $10, $20,000 range, but that's not what we're talking about here. All right, so let me know what you think. Which one would you get? Which one are you interested in? If it were me and I were buying one of these, I would not get the figured top. I was interested in the plain top, white, but I don't want just a plain white one. I think this Lemon Burst might be calling my name. It's not that yellow in person. When you really see it, it's got a bit more oranginess to it, and it's less than the super oranginess of that one right there. All right, hope this was helpful. Let me know in the comments. Hit like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll catch you next time. See ya.